All right, guys, we're back with episode 49 of the HYPEWORKS podcast. We were just talking pre-show there about the minutiae of Outlook and Gmail, so crack on, Jake.
No, I have a big problem with it. So Calendly, if you're listening, help fix it, because for some reason, if you integrate Calendly with Outlook, it doesn't set for example, if you book on Calendly, it emails that person and schedules it in your Google Calendar. But for some reason, if you use a Microsoft system and you use Calendly, it will send the email, but it doesn't always book in the calendar. So if that happens, you have to manually book the calendar up with Calendly, which sort of defeats the point of using Calendly. Which
do they know about this? Is it on their support thing or Reddit or?
I have no idea, but I've experienced it now on like 2 or 3 different email addresses, and it's driving me bonkers. But
wait, so what's exactly? So you get the email invitation, but it doesn't automatically book. You have to accept the invitation. Yeah, that's what I experienced too. At the time, all I experienced was anger and misunderstanding, but but now that you delineated it clearly as to what was happening, that's what I noticed as well. The integrations with Microsoft 365. I worked at Microsoft. So, I was a cloud network engineer at Microsoft. So I was all about the cloud and Microsoft Cloud. Man, this is the best. Well, I've switched from M365 to Google simply for the SSO and the integrations into Calendly. And this other one that I have now. So Hyver, which you've probably not heard of, but it's a frontline customer service technology. It integrates with your inbox, Google or Gmail or Microsoft, and it allows you to have a shared inbox.
Okay.
And, sorry, I hope I'm not hearing feedback on my end. Are you guys?
No, it's cool.
Feedback?
No, keep going.
Okay,
yeah, it's good. Yep.
So it integrates with a shared inbox. Have you ever had a business where you've had a shared inbox and multiple people operating out of that shared inbox? Like, I don't want people operating out of their personal inboxes. I want them operating out of a shared inbox, but that's at scale, that's horrible. Not even that scaled, like 2 or 3 or 4 people operating out of the same inbox. How do you manage that? There's some cool tools. The best one that I found for like a small business is Hyver. They're a startup. And at first I had Microsoft 365, and then it would integrate kind of, but it was horrible. And I moved us finally to Gmail for just that one thing, and it's been amazing.
I totally agree. The Google integrations are better, but here's the caveat that we were talking about before. If you want to automate just pure email, the endpoint accessibility, so the options of what you have to do through the native integration, through the native sign in on Outlook, is actually better than Gmail. So for example, if you're going to try and send emails like automatically through Gmail, it will sometimes throw up errors if you send more than a certain amount. With Outlook, you can send as many as you want. And the best thing is what Google don't do is they don't allow you to reply in thread through their Gmail API endpoint. But Outlook, you can reply in thread. So you can reply in a string and like create a draft within that chain. So if you wanted to send information to ChatGPT to write emails and schedule as a draft, in Gmail situation, you'd have to go through a cloud route and create an endpoint in the Google Cloud. Whereas on Outlook, you can just automatically do it. You don't need to do any of all the extra legwork.
Yeah, that's really someone's going to find that really useful, and I hope like Calendly sponsor us off the back of that, because that's extremely valuable.
Everybody's going to find everybody's going to hear that and understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gmail versus Outlook.
I want to abstract. Go on, Jesse. Go on.
I used to be Microsoft like toe to tail.
Yeah.
Or head to foot. Yeah, whatever. And it was just like, okay, well, yeah, I've got my. I even wanted Microsoft phone. Use Teams for phone and everything.
That's hardcore, yeah.
I wanted that, but it's not very good. So I was like Teams for chat and, Outlook for, the whole Microsoft 365 ecosystem. And I've since switched. Now I'm on Slack and I've got Gmail and I feel super cool and hip now.
Slack gets expensive though. That's
is it? I don't. Yeah.
Can be.
Yeah. But the integrations. The integrations are critical.
Yeah, I just want to abstract a little bit away from the email minutiae. I saw something on Reddit, and it ties into this topic. Like, basically, they were talking about big companies like Google and Microsoft. They get so obsessed with bottom line, and the accountants run these companies that they build all these tools, and then they just abandon them, like because the accountant says that's not making money, and then everyone switches to the money making thing. So maybe you could talk about your background a little bit, like explain what, because I guess you joined Microsoft like obviously way after the kind of company matured, and was it the Steve Ballmer era or Nadella? I don't know, but talk about like joining a big company like that and then having to deal with like all that and what your role was.
Well, at Microsoft, I was a cloud network engineer. It was somewhat recently, like 4 years ago or 5 years ago. I don't even know.
But in these times, that's not recent. In ChatGPT era, that's not recent.
No, I was there for the birth of the ChatGPT Antichrist. I know what it was like. I saw it. It's not what you guys think. It's way more evil than that.
I feel like you're not joking.
No, I'm not. I'm literally not.
I want to know.
Are you allowed to talk about it?
Sure. Yeah, I'm allowed to do whatever I want. This is America, baby. I don't know where you guys are at, but I can talk about it here. Go for it. Well, they just laid off everybody immediately. And I saw it coming. I'm a bit. I have some premonition capabilities, and you could see the writing on the wall. I mean, as soon as ChatGPT landed, I think it was like November.
This is 2022, right? November 2022.
Correct.
So you're talking about 2 years before then. Are you talking about?
No. I'm talking about November.
Okay, around that time, yeah. Okay.
November 2022. It was, we had the biggest hiring class. It was, all gears go on cloud. Cloud was the thing before AI, remember? Especially with remote work and everything. But November, and it was just like silence. And you could just feel it. Nobody else understood, but I did. I understood immediately, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to switch careers here. I'm gonna have to switch directions. This is
Seattle, right?
No, I was fully remote. I wasn't a full-time employee of Microsoft. I was a contractor,
right.
And but it was a promising role. I loved it. It was very challenging at first, but it was in cloud, and as soon as it happened, as soon as ChatGPT landed, I saw it. Everybody else kind of saw it too, but what you saw was, January, boom, everything was. They announced the layoffs, and it was that quick. So I was actually one of the first people, part of the first group of people ever laid off by AI. So I have that unique experience.
Did you go public? Like, did you talk about it, or like? Because I saw a lot of people like they put their stories out there, LinkedIn, Business Insider, etc.
No, nobody cared about us. I wouldn't care either. I'm not going to complain. Like, I'm not going to say like, well, they're just doing what they didn't lay us off because AI was taking our job. They laid us off to take our salaries and position them into AI. And they sent all of our jobs to India, and the remaining onshore contractors were, I've just talked to some of them since then. They tripled their workload. No more severances, just getting axed immediately. They're just cutting cutting, and reinvesting into AI. But they did that from the very beginning. And I don't blame them. I think it's silly. It's the reality of money. You know,
I need to go back to the esoteric question about the Antichrist, because that is not the first time people have said that, right? I've heard that in my circles, and I think it's deep. I think it's deep. I think that it's literal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It is for sure. It doesn't matter what religion. I'm a Christian. I don't know what your religions are, but as I come more into the understand as a network engineer, as a technologist, as an entrepreneur, as I become more aware of what that means, it's perfectly fitting.
Can I just interject for a second and just give you my opinion? Because I think no, Alex, come on. Why are you laughing? Okay. You know what I'm like. I get I'm here's my take, okay? Everybody listening. I wouldn't say I'm a Christian, but I would say that as I think, especially in the AI era, it really started for me there. Amongst a few other things, like Alex, you and I both know that we also, in some way, had to change what we do. Background information, everyone. Me and Alex used to even work together, sometimes independently, but sometimes together as a marketing agency for e-commerce private labels created by manufacturers in China. And we used to help them position their products in the US and European markets. But when ChatGPT came out, it was a lot cheaper than Jake and Alex. And obviously, our unique selling point to the market of China was our native English speaking capability. And ChatGPT kind of leveled the playing field a lot, which really affected our revenue streams. So
in a market like China, I mean, it's best price.
I mean, they're very careful about their money in China. So, we started to lose a lot of revenue, but since then we've both pivoted, we've changed. We work in that field in some essence as well. But I definitely have found myself in the last few years, when I think about things in material and non-material ways. Okay. And I've become more spiritual. I say to people, I've become more religious. That's actually what I say. Now, it's not that I believe with a man who's got a beard on a cloud. I don't know. And I've lived in China. I've lived in the UK.
That's not a thing, right? That's a children's.
You know what I mean, though. It's not. I don't have any kind of vision for what God might be. But
he's so complex that you couldn't envision it, right?
No, but I believe it's good. If we were to be reductive, I'd believe that God is equal to good. Okay. And
sometimes God is kind of mean, though.
I don't know.
Well, if God's all powerful, then what about all these bad things that happen in the world? What is that?
Yeah, but I think about in a different sense. I think of that there's forces out there that we can't see, that there is a battle for good and evil going on. And these forces communicate through us and the material realm that we live in.
Yes, definitely.
I think it's very poignant we're talking about this right now, because I'm sure you guys saw today, Sam Altman's been teasing this agent, so AI agent. So step one was building a chat app where we could just type in stuff, and that literally compressed our world, like literally, as Jake said. And step two could be tomorrow, where if they drop these AI agents with the ChatGPT backend, then essentially that could be the second big kind of blow to our industry. So what's your take on that? Like, I know, Jake, you've been using a lot of other tools, and is this the second coming of AI?
The second coming, yeah, there you go.
Literally,
it just naturally flows off the tongue, doesn't it? The stories unfolding before our eyes, and a lot of people are coming to religion, or however you want to say it, because of this. The reality is your journey probably started 20 years ago, in some form or fashion, but we all feel this quickening pace and acceleration towards this question: what are we being pulled towards? What is our purpose? And especially as men, we're all questioning that. We derive so much of our identity and our purpose from what we can do and how we can
100%.
contribute in our jobs. There's just no way around that. So yeah, it's esoteric. It's all of these things, but what it is, it's unsettling. The unknown is so unsettling.
I also think men, like, we thrive when we're tested, and all of this stuff is making it give us more free time. Like I was saying to Jake the other day, like sometimes you, like, nowadays, like compared to my earlier career, I feel like I have more free time, because obviously when you prompt something, you're kind of just like, you're sitting back and you're waiting for it to do its thing, right? So like that is another
Yeah,
dimension,
but that's, I think that's, it's like people that have conversations with the AI, right? Let's just take what you've said there and then take it to another extreme. Like when you're prompting, you might be prompting with purpose, but you're still waiting. But some people are having like full blown circular conversations with an AI and developing what are they calling it, Alex? You brought it up a couple of like episodes ago. People are developing psychosis. That's it.
Sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. I want to almost come back to the Antichrist conversation, to be honest, because it's so different. You brought it up, but it's so different from our usual topic of conversation.
I'm starting to be different, and I hope a lot of other people are starting to be different. In America, we're having
that was my question. Jesse, go on. Like, how are you incorporating this into your work, like, and your
into
thoughts?
my work? So I'm incorporating it into my
Tell
strategy.
me about your life.
Well, my company is a commercial printing and direct mail company. So in that sense, a bit of a Luddite almost. I've reverted back to the mean of, well, how do I actually make impact, and what is something unique that I can provide in this? There's so much AI digital slop going forward. And I saw this and predicted this. I saw this 15 years ago, to be honest. And part of me didn't believe it. But I believed it on paper, but part of me was like, oh, this is so unbelievable. I don't know if you know Ray Kurzweil.
Yeah.
And the singularity.
Yeah.
Well, I was reading that 15 years ago and doing presentations on it and everything. I was like, you guys don't understand. You guys don't understand. There's this thing where the exponential growth of compute and technology, but specifically compute, is going to follow, if it keeps following along this curve like it has been very predictably, by 2040 we're going to reach the singularity. Before that, by like I forgot what exactly the predictions were, but I think it was by 2030 we're going to have what we might call artificial general intelligence or super intelligence, artificial intelligence that's greater than the sum of all human beings. Ray Kurzweil predicted that 15-20 years ago.
Yeah.
Simply by predicting, by the predictive nature of, how much compute can we do, per dollar. And so all of this is very predictable. And how is it? It's affecting the way I conduct my life, in that I'm trying to think more long term. So rather than go down a pathway of like, well, that career kind of stunk, so let me like retool. It's more about trying to build something, an identity and a purpose outside of it all. Economically, we have to provide for ourselves, and I'm trying to do that. So, but yeah, if we're going to try to read, you guys are digital marketers mainly, and I do a lot of digital marketing. I mean, look at me, I'm on a podcast, right? Well, what does that mean? What does that mean going forward? I mean, you guys are struggling with it. I mean, you're producing copy with AI and you're like, look how fast it is. Is it really that great? And then also everybody's doing it. And so the capability to produce content at scale, I mean, even with, have you seen the actress, the new actress, the AI actress?
Yeah. What's her name? Tilly something, Tilly Norwell or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's supposed to be she's looking for an agent. a Hollywood agent to take her to the next
She'll
level.
find one.
She'll find one. I mean, actually, that's an interesting question. I don't know. So much of Hollywood, eventually she will. There'll be some devilish backdoor deal at some point, but right now, any agent who takes her, in my mind, is going against all of Hollywood. You know, Hollywood does not like this, the intellectual property and everything.
The Antichrist is anti-human.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? So we all keep participating and investing, even though like people at the highest levels of investment into artificial intelligence, they're like, yeah, it's probably gonna kill us all, or it's definitely gonna make us useless. And but I can't help. I'm gonna keep investing in it. Why?
I think the other conspiracy kind of thing I have in my mind related to this is just before ChatGPT launched. Do you remember everyone was telling people to code, learn to code. You will be, a 10x human if you code. And all of a sudden, the programmers are literally out of work. Like I'm sure Microsoft.
It's not all of a sudden either. So I remember 10 years
Yeah.
ago, I had a client who she was in petroleum engineering. This is Texas, right? So we still have things like petroleum.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I'm like, that's a really interesting career. Very smart for you. You're making a lot of money, aren't you? And she goes, yeah, all of my friends, they went into computer science and, they're about to be out of a job. And I was like, at the time I was like, what do you mean? Like computer science? That's where it's at. She's like, oh no, the AI's emerging. They're going to lose all of their jobs. This was 10 years ago. This is before COVID. This is before all of that. I mean, some people knew that the algorithm was going to out-algorithm us very quickly.
Do you think there's not enough education on this? Like people talking about it? Like I know Jake's.
Oh God, everybody's talking about AI.
No, but I mean like the other side, the flip side, like what we're talking about now. Because yeah, like you say, everyone's talking pro AI, like growth and development.
Here's the real take. Like, everybody talking about it is like such a non-statement. It's like, well, what does that mean? Okay, like everybody is talking about it. To Jesse's point, like I agree, but what people aren't talking about is the elephant in the room. It's not that what people are talking about AI, and they're talking about like, how is it changing the fabric of society? How is it changing the relationships between men and women? How is it changing the relationships between humans and other humans? Like people are taking advice from AI about their relationships, about their food choices. I mean, again, these AI have a bias as well that people don't. Some people aren't even thinking. Like some people can't even think anymore. So it's not that like people aren't talking about AI, but people don't want to talk about the real destruction that is happening all around us, like mass unemployment. I don't see people talking about mass unemployment. I see people going, the AI, we just use it to help us. And it's like, no, like one person can do the job of 5 people. And if I'm being real about what I do as work, I replace people with AI. That is fundamentally the bottom line of what I do, because I automate a system, and where there usually would be a human, now there's a chat GPT, so, people, I don't write that on LinkedIn. I'm not going to write on LinkedIn, hey, everyone, it's me again. I'm here to replace the people in your business and also the people that you could outsource. No, of course I'm not writing that. But the reality is that is what's happening. Why do I do it? Because I get material gain from it.
For
it's
now.
The same shit. Everybody's investing. Nobody's talking about the dirty laundry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's for the same reason, like 20 minutes ago, or when we first started talking, you're like, well, are you allowed to talk about it? I mean, of course, I'm allowed to talk about it. But most people aren't. Most people are self-censored.
I was thinking more like non-compete or something like that, some bullshit, but I guess that was not an issue.
No. I mean, even if I did, I would still, I would never sign something that says like, hey, you can't talk about the truth.
Casey Neistat dropped a really good video today on YouTube, basically, and he outlined all of the jobs that were involved in like making film, like director, sound guy, editor, like lighting guy, like all of this stuff, like 10 different jobs. And then he put the Sora, the video app on the other side. Yeah. So like, yeah. So I was just saying, like, going forward then, Jesse, like, what would be your, like, would you suggest to people like be a Luddite like you and like just go offline, or like go cold turkey with AI, and like just in terms of marketing, or what would your kind of thoughts on that be, like the way forward?
I'll give you my opinion, and I'd really be interested in your opinion. As far as marketing goes, I just think that we're increasingly. I went on LinkedIn I used to be really active on LinkedIn, and I'm starting to post more on there and stuff. I thought about it anyways, and I'm really not doing that anymore because I went on there, and then after 3 days, I was severely depressed. I was like, man, why am I so depressed? And then I realized it's because I've been on LinkedIn for 3 days. And I got off LinkedIn, and the depression somewhat lifted. I'm kind of one of these personality types or psychographics that is I'm very empathic. So anything that you kind of expose me to, I will integrate into. I'll feel it. And man, if I go into LinkedIn, I'm just like, whoa. No, it's like my empath, it's like my kryptonite, my Superman kryptonite. I'm like, no, it hurts me literally. And then why is that? Well, most of it is AI. People are replying to comments, making comments. At a certain point now, it's just AI responding to AI. What does that tell you about digital marketing? It's crazy, and we haven't even hardly that's agentic, but you're talking about ChatGPT's agent serve. Yeah, we haven't even cracked the code. It hasn't even gotten there. So what does that mean? This to me, my hypothesis, for what it's worth, my 2 cents worth, is that it's all going to become as useless as it ever was, but it's definitely going to become useless going forward. How do you bleed through the noise? How do you? I mean, email, sure. I guess email's always has such a low response rate. Cold email, right?
Lower now than ever.
More than now than ever, and that's only going to increase. So how do you cut through the noise?
Well,
and for me, it's offline. It's trust over attention. My new book is called Trust Over Attention, and it's coming out in like a month. And so whatever that means, trust over attention, what I'm really saying is, well, nobody's going to trust this online stuff. Very soon, you're going to have some sort of cryptography to prove that it was just you anyways. That, this everything I'm saying right now could be AI. How do you know? I mean, right now the AI's quality is not as realistic as this. Almost.
It's getting close though. It's getting close. Yeah.
So every week we have somebody says the quality's not good, and every week I respond with the same answer. It's not the AI that's the issue. It's the design of the workflow behind the AI that is the issue. But if you design your workflows in a very calculated way, the quality of the output, you would not, if it's got access to information about how a human speaks, which is imperfect, then it will produce an imperfect response, and you would not be able to distinguish it from AI.
Okay, but that goes to the definition of quality. So if I have in a classic car, and it's rare, it's one of one.
McLaren F1, something like that.
McLaren, actually, that's a really good example, because in Asia, where you guys are, they there was a big scandal about McLaren F1. What do you call it? Scams, where they created fake McLaren F1s, sold them for McLaren F1 prices, and there's a lot of fake McLaren F1s out there. Well, McLaren F1 when you find out it's the fake one, and some of the fakes are really good. I feel like they came out of Japan, if I remember the story right. Some of the fakes are so good. The only way they found out was that they took off the hood, or they took off the fiberglass, and they had to literally, somebody who knew about F1s, from McLaren, found out that they were fake. People that owned these cars for 10 years didn't even know. So in those 10 years, like that person thought they were driving a McLaren F1, but immediately after you find out it's not the authentic thing, it's valueless. Well, people are going to see that everything digital marketing, it's already been a bit of slop anyways, but now it's not even going to be human generated. So the book or the movie or the song, some of these songs that are being generated with AI, Joe Rogan's podcast, they had the 50 Cent song with the video that goes along with it. And it's like, wow, this is really amazing. And it's moving. What is the future? Are we going to have AI actresses with AI storylines, with AI everything? That same company that created the AI actress also creates AI landscape and so the whole idea is like, you don't have to go on site for shooting anymore. For shooting a film, imagine how much money and headache and logistics you're going to save. Just use our AI to generate the scene. Okay, economically that makes sense. And what are we losing there? Probably not much. But as far as humanity, are we really going to be super entertained by artificially intelligent storylines and specifically people, actresses? In Japan, before AI, they had this character, and I can't remember the name, but you guys are in Asia, maybe you know more. There's a character that is like super famous that's a fake character, like an artificially created character, and people follow her. She has a personality, apparently. I'm not super caught up on it. So
it's kind of like her, right? It's like her type vibe.
I think are you talking about Sophia?
I think so.
That's that robot is that guy the guy from Shenzhen?
Might be.
You know the one I mean, the guy with the hat, Ben Godsall or something.
If you're generating content that's trying to make a connection, so I come from direct mail advertising. So, and the internet, by the way, just is another iteration of that. So like you do a sales letter. Well, we were doing that, 100 years ago. That all of that was invented. All of the copywriting skills, all of the copywriting, knickknacks, and Dan Kennedy, and that inspired everybody who talks about copywriting and direct marketing and everything. Yeah. That all came from direct mail. And I'm a network engineer. So I work on the internet. I used to work on the internet. The internet was my thing. I understand it more intimately than probably one out of every 100,000 people. Well, the postal system, for instance, was the original network. All the terminology that we use in network engineering in the internet is borrowed from the postal system. Packets, envelopes, things like this. So all we've managed to do is deliver data at a higher bit rate more quickly without the use of physical, without the need for physicality. What is, a reversion to the mean means that, well, as this becomes cheaper to create, it also becomes cheaper in its impact and value. And we're going to have to make a larger impact, a more serious, authentic impact. That's my hypothesis. So that's why I'm running a commercial printing and direct mail advertising company. I believe in this hypothesis so strongly that I think to cut through the noise, especially in the only people that are going to successfully cut through the noise is going offline. It doesn't mean that you can't drive people online.
Just to tie that back then, Jesse, like if you're advising like a marketer or entrepreneur like now where to invest offline, like what would be the top places to do it other than maybe print? Like
I would not say
see a lot of these
invest
kids.
in print.
There's a lot of kids.
Oh, you mean like invest your marketing budget in print, or are you talking about entrepreneurship?
All these kids in Silicon Valley with the VC money are buying billboards. It's quite interesting to watch it.
Oh, I don't know that. What's that story?
They're just buying billboards. Like kids are blowing money. There was a guy that he's actually quite interesting. He runs this friend.com thing. It's like a AI companion. It's like a necklace. There we go. And he just did the biggest offline ad campaign, like apparently in history. He plastered the ads on the subway in New York and billboards in San Francisco. Is that a good smart usage of money? Yeah, you think it's good?
Well, what's the alternative? The alternative is let me compete with all these information marketers online, telling me how I can get rich quick. it's flooded. So if you understand, so who are the two hottest people on for entrepreneurs like us, right? Who do we see in our feed more than anyone else?
Musk.
I'd probably
Well,
say Hormozy was one of them.
Hormozy was one of them. Musk is another one. But what's the other one? It's Gary Vaynerchuk is the other. Well,
He's not in my feed.
he's not in your feed. Well, he's all in my feed. Our feeds are different. Musk is in my feed too. But the impact of what I was trying to say with Alex Hormozy and Gary Vaynerchuk is these are the darlings of social media. Why?
True.
Because all they talk about is how you should be spending more time and money on social media advertising. So if I'm Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, I'm gonna be pushing that message. Hey, look at me. You know, it's proof is in the pudding. In my new book, I have a chapter. It's called Proof is in the Printing. You're reading my book. Why are you reading my book? Because people trust books. People trust printing more intrinsically for a number of reasons, but it doesn't even matter. Some je ne sais quoi. But the proof is in the pudding with Alex Hormozy, Gary Vaynerchuk, and they're pushing it down the pipeline. I mean, Elon Musk is not necessarily that, but he does own Twitter. Well, wouldn't you do that too? So the message is a lot of followers and not a lot of leaders. And I think that, you know, the email inbox is crowded, has been crowded forever. It's great for keeping touch for next to no money with your current client base, but your pool, your ocean of marketing has to be so large to get that fraction of a percent of response rate, right? So for certain things, it works. And it's so cheap that your ROI is huge, but your pool, it has to be even larger. You know, and you and I understand what that means. Hopefully the listener might understand what that means. But
I think
yeah.
No, I was going to say, I think of it this way. With the email marketing, what I've come to realize now, like probably within the last 2-3 years since Instantly and tools like Instantly, is that the volumes that people are sending are high. So it's like a video game. If you started early, then you could have scaled, and now you've scaled to the point where you can throw tens of thousands of dollars into email marketing campaigns every month, and you can send 500,000 emails out a month. Most people aren't doing that. But that's really the scale that a lot of people that are doing well out of email marketing are sending emails out at. They're sending more than 10, 20. I mean, I know some agency guys that run one of the biggest Instantly agencies in the world, and they're currently sending, I think it's like 200,000 emails a month just for themselves to acquire customers, not for any of their clients. For their clients all in, they're sending way over 1 million emails a month. But you're talking about like they're only generating like 300 leads out of 200,000 emails.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. The pool that you have to have is so massive now. And you're right. You have to grow your list somehow. Good luck. It's going to cost you a lot of money, but nobody ever factors that into the ROI. They're like, oh, look, the ROI is it's so cheap to send an email. Of course, it's just bits over a wire. But
I think
nobody ever says like, oh yeah, but we have to spend all this time.
What we're talking about is so important. Like it's like the law of diminishing returns, right? Across all these different marketing channels. And I think what you've done, Jesse, is kind of cool because none of the guests we've had before have actually talked about this specifically. And like, you know, it's all digital, it's all AI, it's all social. But actually, what you're doing is you're inverting that sort of pyramid. Just one question: like, say you got a blank check for like 10 million, for example.
Oh, that would be great.
I'll put you on the spot, but like, what would you do with that as a marketer? Like, we did talk about that briefly. What would you do with that money?
What am I selling as a marketer?
Yeah, like if you're working for Microsoft or something, what are you going to do with that?
If I'm working for Microsoft, I'm quitting.
Yeah,
I'm not.
Oh yeah, just take the money and run. Yeah, that's very smart.
Yeah, definitely.
But you would do like billboards or?
It's for marketing.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what I'm selling.
Yeah.
I would. There's a lot of indecision that goes into that question for most entrepreneurs, and I'm sure as you well know. Yeah, that question, that version of that question. Oh, you have 250K. What are you going to do? Oh, I'm going to hire, I'm going to hire and build out and scale a direct sales team. Okay. And then it's very likely that you're going to spend that money and waste a lot of time and money. $10 million. What I would do is I would test. The answer is called testing, as you guys probably know. I would test a lot of things. I wouldn't go all into one thing. I would do a lot of micro testing to see what's working. I wouldn't be trying to get the most out of my money. I would just be trying to get money out of my expenses. So my income, and even projected out into the future pretty maybe liberally, is larger than my spend. I wouldn't be so obsessed with trying to find the right thing. Would be print and direct mail what I'm doing? Is that part of it? Probably. I'm probably going to, it depends on what I'm selling. So if I'm selling something really cheap, if I'm selling, like you guys were saying, you represent these manufacturers. Well, that's B2B, right? Am I wrong? Is that B2B?
We see, but yeah, whatever.
Oh, it's B2C?
No. It's like when we sell B2B, but what we do on behalf of them is we sell their products to the consumers.
So how do you get customers, or how did you get customers in that space?
Oh, well, network messaging, direct messaging, groups, referral. Classic.
Yeah, exactly. Networking, referral. So at the end of the day, all marketing, all sales comes through word of mouth, one way or the other. Now, marketing is just accelerating that. If your product and delivery isn't remarkable, it doesn't, you might get some initial traction, but you're always going to revert back to the mean, which is that your product is crap. And it doesn't, if you're spending marketing to sell a crap product, and you get some traction, it doesn't matter. Because what you're trying to do is get word of mouth to take off. So we all live in communities somewhat. These manufacturers live and work and talk to each other at some points, even if they're competitors. So what you would like to do is to get into that community and have people refer you. So that I always, when I'm advising somebody, back to your $10 million question. So I have a bunch of landscapers that I'm starting to advise, and a lot of them are 6 figures, some of them are 7 figures, and they're trying to scale. Well, a lot of people think scaling, well, I need to acquire cold customers, and the reality is cold customers are always going to be the most expensive customers you're going to get, right? And if you don't have a methodology of turning those, your existing customers into accelerating them up the value chain for you from your core offer to other offers, or turning your existing clients into your best referrals and into brand ambassadors, then you're dumping all this money into the front of your funnel, bringing the most expensive type of customer you could get, which is a cold customer who's never heard of you, doesn't know anybody who's heard of you. And the first thing I would do with $10 million, if I had some traction already with some customers, is I would invest heavily in product and delivery and referral mechanisms. The first thing I would do is referral mechanisms to my current client base. So you guys have clients. Do you have a mechanism? How strong is your mechanism for them to refer you to other people in their network who do the same thing?
I mean, I do it slightly differently.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, here's what I think has changed. Not that I disagree with you. I think it's the same concept, but I think it works slightly different, because we've kind of transitioned away from what we were doing before, and we've started to innovate on how we get cold customers in a completely different market and space. And what we've come to realize, or at least I have, Alex, you can back me up on this. It's like you do use your existing customer base, but I think that there's a way to deliver value first, either for a very low fee or for like free trial, like as an example, like free trial.
Well, you know who came up with that? You know who invented that? Was Dan Kennedy. You know who took it viral? Was digital marketer, Ryan Dyson, digital marketer. Are you familiar with them?
Dan Candy, but not the other guy. No.
Ryan Dice and digital marketer.
Never heard
Well,
of
yeah. So he has. They were my customer, and I get at least in the States, but I know also outside of the States, they were a big influencer in digital marketing. That you would join their program and you would learn the basics and the skills of digital marketing, email marketing, paid ads on Facebook, blah blah blah. Well, you have to in my book Trust Over Attention. One of my first chapters, and it hasn't come out yet, so it might be the first chapter or one of the first chapters, is the importance of trust. And the story that I tell is, imagine you have a girl and a guy sitting at a bar, and he goes up to her and says, "Hey, my name's John. You want to get married?" And she's like, "Well, no, you're a freak. I'm leaving." Well, what? But so many of our customers do the same thing. So many of us do the same thing with our customers. We're like, "Hey, my name's John. Do you want to buy my core offer?" No. So you introduce what do you do in reality if you're smooth at all and not autistic? You walk up and you say, "Hey, my name's John. Can I buy you a drink?" So that's what we call delivering value in advance. This is often done in marketing with a tool called a lead magnet. And then the next step is perhaps to turn them into a customer for as little money as possible. So what's the barrier for somebody to start doing business with you, to exchange money for service? You know, is it 10K a month? Is it 5K a month? Is it only 1K a month? You know, but you need to have what we call a tripwire offer. So a tripwire offer is something that's a nominal fee. And this is all relative to if you're selling yachts, a nominal fee might be $1,000. If you're selling, you know, an information product, the nominal fee might be $9.99. But you have a tripwire offer that turns that person into a customer, however small, a micro transaction, and you over deliver on that product. So that tripwire could be like the ultimate guide of XYZ. And then now the psychology has changed. This person is no longer a cold lead that you're warming up. They're officially a customer. And when money changes hands, things change. Now I trust you, especially if you over delivered on the tripwire, on the lead magnet. So lowering the bar of starting to conduct business with you is critical to build trust and relationships and start going on dates. And ultimately you want to, you know, but that same person could walk up to a girl at a bar with friends, and these friends could, you know, be endorsing them and, you know, all this stuff. So you want to have all of that stuff too. But if I were to have $10 million and I had an existing business like I do, the first thing I would do is I would implement a referral mechanism into my business and implement a mechanism for my best customers to don me my logo, to be brand ambassadors for me, to always have so I have a dry cleaner here locally. It's called Zips Dry Cleaning, and they're great. I don't know if you guys do dry cleaning ever, but they deliver their product within like 24 hours, and it's always the cheapest, and I've never had a problem with the product. Probably like 2 or 3 times a year, I give a referral to Zips Dry Cleaning. And almost every time I'm surprised that people haven't heard of them. But do they give me a mechanism to do that? If I actually desperately want to talk to Zips Dry Cleaning and be like, "Hey, you don't have a referral mechanism for your business. This could be, I would have referred you 3 times. And what would that look like? Well, if I'm Zips, it might be like $20 off, you know, your first order." So now I feel like the hero now, just referring people to this service. Like, "Hey, Zips, they're great. They do a great product." But I would super feel like a hero if I have, you know what? Actually, I have this thing. It's $20 off your first thing. Your friend gets, so I look like the hero, and maybe even I get like $20 off of my thing too. And Zips is getting a new customer with a lot of lifetime value.
Yeah, that's super smart.
Alex.
Really, really good. Yeah, let's Jake, you go ahead.
No,
Drop the final question.
Well, I'll drop the final question, but we've got to give Jesse the heads up here because we've got another podcast in 2 minutes that we have to get to, and usually we keep it short. But Jesse, it's been phenomenal. I think the topics it's been amazing. We've got to get you back on. By far,
I'd love to come back on.
Yeah, really. We didn't even get into the bats under the bridge or anything. So, it's been fantastic. Usually, though, we ask the penultimate question that sort of takes a few minutes for people to get their head around, really, before they can even answer. So, I'm not sure we've got time, but I'm going to drop it in anyway.
Do it.
Okay, so it's just about future predictions. Could be anything. Could be your life. Could be the world. Could be anything. But in a nutshell, what are your future? Yeah.
Future prediction. I think that Trump and America is going to use cryptocurrency as a play to escape our existing debt.
Whoa.
That's a new one.
Drop the mic.
Put him on the board.
Yeah,
wow,
I think that's
hardcore.
Okay. Yeah. I guess on that one then.
Yeah. All right, Jesse, that was cool. Let's see you in a year's time.
All right. Sounds good.
See you soon. Jesse, stay in touch.
Yeah, I will.